WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at WION.com.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Welcome to Race to Power on WION World is One. I'm Eric Njoka. Seizing Panama Canal, buying Greenland and annexing Canada, that's what US President-elect Donald Trump focused on while sending Christmas greetings. Trump spent Christmas Day firing off on his Truth Social website about his own perceived political persecution. And fears of a power vacuum are looming in South Korea after the impeachment of the country's president. Now the opposition has set its eyes on the nation's prime minister and caretaker leader, Han Duck-seo. The show starts now. Well, in an extraordinary Christmas mood, Donald Trump unleashed a torrent of 34 social media posts within an hour, painting a vivid picture of his ambitions and controversial agenda. The rapid-fire messages, ranging from territory expansion plans to personal jibes, offer a preview of America's potential foreign policy direction. Here's a report.
It's my tremendous honor to finally wish America and the world a very Merry Christmas.
Among his barrage of posts, a meme stood out. Trump smirking at former President Barack Obama during the 2017 inauguration, captioned, "When you see the guy who said you'll never be president at your inauguration." Trump's Christmas wishes read more like a blueprint for American expansion, doubling down on his recent claims both the Panama Canal and Greenland, while introducing a bold new vision of annexing Canada as the 51st state. His message to China about illegally operating the Panama Canal carries ominous undertones of potential confrontation. Trump again took a dig at Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, calling him governor, and once again asking the country to become the 51st state of America. In the festive spirit, Trump sweetened his offer of reducing tariffs by adding that they would be militarily protected like no other country anywhere in the world. In his mockery, Trump also suggested that the National Hockey League legend Wayne Gretzky should lead the country. Trudeau's job is currently on the line after the surprise resignation of Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, who clashed with her boss over Trump's threats to impose 25% tariffs on Canadian imports. Adding salt to the insult, Moscow came up with a concerning statement. The Russian Foreign Ministry hinted that Canada's sovereignty is under threat. Trump's Christmas post revealed his strategy: dominate headlines, ridicule adversaries, and reinforce his nationalist agenda. While Americans have been puzzled about the mystery drone sightings, the outgoing American President Joe Biden commissioned a drone-shot video giving a rare look inside the White House, while urging unity and reflection in this Christmas video. Happy holidays. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
We ask that God will continue to bless this nation, and we pray that He will grant every American family a Christmas season full of joy, hope, and peace.
Mr. Stephen Golub is a political analyst and also lawyer. He's joining us live on Race to Power from Philadelphia, the United States. Mr. Golub, happy holidays and thank you very much for making time for us. Welcome to the broadcast. I'll begin by asking you, many people thought, I included, that during Trump's campaign and during his victory speech, that he's a changed man. But that doesn't seem like it, because with his recent jibes and with his recent comments, I think we were all wrong. Trump, the OG, is back.
He's certainly back, and in a very even hostile and somewhat vicious way, both by virtue of his attacks on what he calls the lunatic left and his hostility or hostile statements towards Greenland, towards Denmark, because Greenland is a territory of Denmark, towards Panama, and towards our greatest ally, Canada. And this certainly is a continuation of the way he was during his first term. But there's an additional source of concern here, something that didn't get too much attention abroad during our presidential campaign, was Trump's possible cognitive decline, even as there was much commentary, and I think legitimate, on Biden's cognitive decline. Trump has exhibited this in some ways through his statements, through his actions, some of which were very, very wild and irresponsible. So even though this is a continuation of Trump in many ways, there's a cause for concern that he may be, even worse than ever and in worse mental shape than ever. One thing I'll add is that in Christmas, it is in America, regardless of what religion you are, it's a day of rest, a day of family, a day of celebration. What Trump spent a good part of the day sending out 36 posts expressing all sorts of hostility towards our allies, towards domestic opponents, rather than trying to unite the country on the one day, if any, when there should have been a spirit of generosity in his words.
Mr. Golub, very quickly, let's talk about his statements like you mentioned there. What are the consequences of this statement looking forward and looking into the future when he actually indeed becomes president of the U.S.?
I think in certain instances, this pressure may work in certain contexts, but largely it'll be counterproductive. I mean, how would India feel if Trump said, well, Goa was a different territory than much of India for much of its history, and the U.S. has a strategic interest in that part of the world. Maybe we should buy Goa or take over Goa. It would be ridiculous for him to say that. So how do you think the governments of Greenland, of Denmark, of Canada, of Panama, and other nations feel? It's an indication that the U.S. is not a trustworthy, reliable ally. They'll have to deal with the U.S. as best they can because we're such a powerful country. But this isn't the way to make friends and influence people. It's really counterproductive in many ways. And even though Trump may win a few minor victories here and there, but
all right. We seem to have lost Stephen Golub. But Stephen Golub, thank you very much for your time and for talking to us today on WION World is One, and happy holidays. Well, just over 2 months ago, electric vehicle maker Tesla's stock were headed for its third consecutive year of losses in its 15 years as a public business. However, following a dramatic surge in value over the past 7 weeks, the company is now ranked among the top performers for 2024 in the S&P 500 index. The ground reality for Tesla remains the same. There is complete paralysis inside the EV maker as demand for its automobiles remains shaky and the future becomes bleak. So, what set off the change in fortunes? Elon Musk's robust campaign support for Donald Trump and his subsequent unofficial participation in the president-elect's administration has triggered a turnaround. Investors see that move as a political masterstroke on Musk's part. Shares of Tesla fell 2.3% leading up to the U.S. presidential election. The stock, though, reversed to surge by 73% after the election results, bringing their 2024 total up to 69%. Despite no change to the company's core competencies, the EV makers market valuation increased by $572 billion in less than 2 months, reaching about $1.4 trillion. Trump's instance of being anti-electric vehicles is well known. However, investors seem to be placing their bets on Musk's ongoing cozy relationship with the administration to pave the way for Tesla's goal of developing a completely autonomous vehicle. Wall Street analysts have raised the stock's price estimates significantly. Bets are that regulatory restrictions will be eased significantly, benefiting Tesla's self-driving technology ambitions. South Korea remains in the grip of political drama days after the country's prime minister was appointed acting president. The opposition has tabled a motion to impeach him as well. Early in the day, the Democratic Party introduced a motion in parliament to impeach Han Duck-seo. This is the second top leader the opposition is looking to oust from office. The ruling party has slammed the opposition, accusing it of attempting to paralyze the government and triggering a deeper crisis.
민주당의 탄핵 폭주, 탄핵 쓰나미가 이제 국정 마비를 넘어서 국정을 초토화시키고 있습니다. 오늘 민주당이 탄핵하겠다는 것은 한덕수 권한대행이 아니라 국정을 탄핵하고 민생을 탄핵하고 외교를 탄핵하고 대한민국을 탄핵하겠다는 것입니다.
Opposition lawmakers had threatened to impeach the acting president if he did not complete the process of appointing 3 judges to fill the constitutional court's vacancies. And that is exactly what happened in parliament today. Han Duck-seo decided to defer the judicial appointments, citing political infighting as a reason.
여야가 합의하여 안을 제출하실 때까지 저는 헌법재판관 임명을 보류하겠습니다. 여야가 합의하여 안을 제출하시면 즉시 헌법재판관을 임명하겠습니다.
The Constitutional Court is set to begin hearing the case against suspended President Yoon Suk Yeol weeks after he briefly imposed martial law in the country. Ever since, South Korea has been rocked by frequent protests calling for Yoon Suk Yeol to resign. Mr. Collins Chong Yu-kiat is a foreign affairs and security strategist. Is now joining us from Kuala Lumpur. He works at the University of Malaya. He's now joining us from Kuala Lumpur. Mr. Chong, thank you very much for making time for us and welcome to the broadcast. It looks like there will be an imminent vacuum in South Korea in the coming few days, if at all. Hang Dak-soo is impeached like the president. What do you think will be the political scenario of the country in the coming few days?
Well, it is a continuation of the recent gridlock between the two parties. We have seen how the deep distrust and mistrust between both warring factions, and also, of course, the opposition, the Democratic Party, has accused the People Power Party that they have failed to carry on with their promises to relook the whole saga, and of course also for Hunt, accusing him of failing to live up to the pledge to uphold the constitution, failure to appoint the justices, as well as a lot of this recent momentum of him being accused of failing to have this to adhere to the calls for the investigation into the First Lady, as well as also on Suk Yeol. Now that we have this hearing coming up this week. So this turmoil has been, it's not a recent case. It has been ongoing for the past couple of months. Suk Yeol's deep resentment among the people of Suk Yeol, also of course with the First Lady, and this is the culmination of the months-long saga of the political turmoil in South Korea, and also of course he has also raised concerns with his neighbors in Japan and China, and seeing how also the majority of the South Korean people have also raised concerns on where this will also create the future of South Korea, especially with this impending threat from North Korea, as well as also to a certain extent from China. And we have also seen all the recent polls that a majority of South Koreans now are also open to the idea, the notion of going nuclear to ensure that its own security and safety are being taken into account.
Mr. Chong, what happens if the court does not uphold the impeachment of Yoon Suk Yeol? What happens to South Korea then, very quickly?
Well, we have seen also, this, the most important will be how will this recent call to impeach Han will continue. And there have been talks of, the finance minister might step up to assume the role. But it remains to be seen, because there has been this different debates and confusion as to whether it will require a simple majority or a two-thirds majority of the parliament to successfully carry out the call for impeachment of Han. And also it remains to be seen as to how the court will decide on the ruling of Suk Yeol later on this week. For now, of course, we have seen how a majority of factions with the People Power Party will still support Han. And they will see that the calls from the opposition have started to have these displays of this great internal resentment of the establishment party, and of course we don't see the great potential of this to go haywire for the next couple of days unless there's been this a greater push by the Democratic Party. But as of now, Han will still remain in power as the acting president, and but the main, the decision making and also the main arguments will start when we see how the court will decide when the ruling on Suk Yeol will commence later on this week.
All right, so we'll have to leave it there. I've been talking to Mr. Collins Chong Yu-kiat from Kuala Lumpur. Yeah. Mr. Collins, thank you very much for your time and for talking to us today. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
A fresh political controversy is brewing in the Indian capital, with a standoff involving the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party making the opposition's umbrella India or the INDIA bloc vulnerable. Earlier today, the Aam Aadmi Party slammed the Congress for comments made by its senior Delhi leader Ajay Maken. The All India Congress Committee treasurer Maken said allying with the Aam Aadmi Party during the 2024 Lok Sabha elections was a, quote, mistake. AAP has also accused Maken of calling their party chief and ex-chief minister Arvind Kejriwal an anti-national.
अपमान का एफआईआर दर्ज कराने का, एंटी नेशनल बोलने का जो दुस्साहस अजय माकन और उनकी पार्टी ने किया है, मैं मांग करता हूं कांग्रेस पार्टी से कि 24 घंटे के अंदर अजय माकन के खिलाफ कार्रवाई करें.
The Aam Aadmi Party has threatened it will seek out other parties of the INDI alliance to remove the Congress from the bloc if no action is taken against Ajay Maken. On Wednesday, Delhi Congress released a white paper targeting the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. The document listed out 12 points accusing both political rivals of mismanagement with respect to pollution, civil or civic facilities, and law and order in the national capital. As the deadline to conduct assembly elections in Delhi draws closer, all three parties are intensifying attacks on the other. Polls are scheduled to be held by February next year, but the Election Commission is yet to announce a date. The three parties have released the full or partial list of candidates contesting the upcoming elections. Over 24 parties had come together months ahead of the Lok Sabha elections to form a bloc called the Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance to take on the BJP-led NDA bloc in the polls. While the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress are both part of the INDIA, they contest assembly elections independently. Let's move to Southern Africa. Deadly violence has gripped Mozambique again after the Constitutional Court validated the ruling party's victory in an October election. Fresh protests erupted this week and they have reached the capital city's prison. 33 people have been killed and scores of others were injured at a prison riot in Maputo. Footage from an eyewitness shows a large group of people running in the same direction. At least 6,000 prisoners have reportedly escaped from the prison. The violence has been linked to large unrest over the election mandate.
Do que se espera depois de sair 1.534 reclusos que cometeram altos crimes no país. Então nós esperamos nas próximas 48 horas uma subida vertiginosa da criminalidade na cidade de Maputo, todo tipo de criminalidade, porque aqueles são especialistas de todo tipo de criminalidade. Significa, vai subir o crime de roubo, assalto, violação de mulheres, roubo de viaturas, assaltos à mão armada, incluindo rapto.
Shortly after the court declared ruling Frelimo Party's candidate Daniel Chapo as the election winner, opposition supporters took to the streets again. The violent protests killed at least 21 people, in addition to the prison death toll. Clouds of smoke could be seen rising from buildings and cars set ablaze. Many businesses suffered losses due to looting and arson. This is the second wave of deadly unrest. The first wave in October after elections killed at least 103 people. It has only been a few weeks since Bashar al-Assad fled Syria and a transitional authority has taken over. But the country is already witnessing a fresh wave of unrest, sparking fears of another civil war. Protests have broken out in Syria over a video showing an attack on an Alawite shrine, even as the country's new authorities say the footage is old. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights Monitor said a demonstrator was killed in the Homs city and 5 others were injured after security forces opened fire to disperse the crowd. Further, the Monitor reported protests by thousands of people in the coastal city of Latakia, as well as other areas including deposed ruler Bashar al-Assad's hometown of Kardaha. The transitional authorities appointed by Islamist group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or the HTS, that led the offensive against Assad, say the footage showing the storming and attack of the shrine in Aleppo dates to the time of the liberation of the northern Syrian city earlier this month. An Interior Ministry statement said the attack was carried out by unknown groups and that republishing the video served to stir up strife among the Syrian people at this sensitive stage. In a separate incident, over 17 people were killed in Syria's Tartus province after security forces sought to arrest an Assad regime officer linked to the Said Naya prison. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said 14 members of the General Security Force of Syria's new authority were killed along with 3 armed men in Kirbet al-Mazar. Many Syrian citizens are accusing Assad loyalists of sparking the unrest to destabilize the country under its new regime and instill fear among people from minority communities.
There are 2 sects, the Alawite and the Assadi. The Assadi sect that are trying to destabilize the security of the country, those will be burnt. Syria is ours. Syria is for everybody. This is not for the Assad family. There is no fear. The new government is capable to delete anyone who are anti-humans in Syria.
Now, according to the CIA World Factbook, Sunni Muslim Arabs make up 50% of Syria's nearly 24 million population, while Alawites, Kurds and Christians make up 45%. The remaining comes from Druze, Ismaili and other ethnic and religious groups. Thank you for watching this edition of Race to Power on WION World is One. I'm Eric Njoka. Happy holidays. Stay with us.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. In a year that reshaped the world, 2024 brought seismic shifts, bold moves, and unforgettable moments that will echo through history around the globe. Wars continued to ravage nations, but new alliances and power shifts began to rewrite the rules of geopolitics. 2024 also bore witness to nature's fury. Climate change fueled deadly wildfires, devastating floods, and unprecedented storms. Devastating wars to technological revolutions. 2024 was the year that changed everything. The Game Changers 2024. The year that reshaped our future. Only on WION. World is One. WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays, 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
The stress of our world can take a toll on our physical and emotional health. Here, in New York's Catskill Mountains, lies a luxurious place of healing called WION Wellness Center. The WION Wellness Center provides 500,000 square feet of natural methods to manage diabetes, hypertension, chronic pain, obesity, depression, anxiety, and other conditions. We use the traditions of centuries-old natural science from India, yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy in personalized programs that help you take charge of your own health. A minimum 5-day stay is recommended for best results. Book now at yo1.com.
Well, thanks for staying with us. You're watching Beyond World is One. My name is Mohammed Saleh, and let's start this broadcast by taking a quick look as to what is making headlines at this hour. But the Iran-backed Houthis have said that multiple Israeli air raids targeted an airport, military base, and also a power station in Yemen. Now, the Kremlin has cautioned against hypotheses over the crash of an Azerbaijani plane which had been due to land in Russia, as experts point to possible evidence of a missile explosion. The Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said that France had tried to establish a dialogue with Moscow on Ukraine, but without Kiev's participation. China has urged the Philippines to pull out of the US mid-range capability missile system Typhoon as soon as possible. Pakistani military court sentences 60 more people for involvement in attacks on military installations on the 9th of May 2023 following the arrest of Imran Khan. And those sentenced include Imran Khan's nephew, Hassan Niazi. The sentences have been given for a time period of almost 2 to 10 years inside prisons. Candlelight vigils were held in Thailand to mark 20 years since the massive Indian Ocean tsunami hit the region in one of modern history's worst natural disasters. In an age of rapidly advancing military technology, hypersonic missiles have emerged as a game changer. So as global tensions rise from the war in Ukraine to West Asia, these weapons are proving to be indispensable in making traditional air defense systems pretty much